All right, welcome back. Project New Man. Today, we're going on a skate and we're answering the question, how do you actually become a man who has vitality, who has power, who has confidence? And today the topic is self-esteem. You know, for so much of my life, I've actually had this sense of low self-esteem for whatever reason. And it's so unnecessary. I know that so many people feel it. So the first thing I want to say is, we're not alone. So many people feel this feeling of not being enough, low self-esteem, something's not right, I have to be better, people won't like me the way I am. Even very famous people feel this, and you hear them say it. You know, Tai Lopez says, no matter how much people feel or make you feel like they know what's going on, most people don't know what the heck is going on. And so many people have these feelings of anxiety, social anxiety, not being enough, imposter syndrome. So it's not just you, and it's not a symptom of your lack of success. I can remember going back even to when I was a kid, this feeling started happening probably in middle school, where you have the realization that you're not enough. You're too fat. There's all kinds of different reasons, but everybody feels it, right? Whether you get acne, whether you're not good with the girls, whether people make you feel insecure about anything. For me, I had like this puffy afro, I was a little bit chubby, and so you compensate. From there, you try to fix yourself from the outside, thinking that that's actually going to be what changes how you feel about yourself on the inside. And it kind of makes sense, so you can't really blame the person for thinking that way. So I tried to, not be chubby. I tried to act a little bit cooler, get in shape. Sometimes you even go as far as you read self-help books. Okay. And you try to even out your imperfections. You try to even out all of your weaknesses. But what that's coming from is a place of feeling like you can fix it from the outside. It's a little bit misguided. You see, it never works. I kept on just feeling the same feeling of feeling shy in front of people. And sometimes it feels like you're trying to escape your destiny, really. And so it kind of stayed that way for a long time until I read this book, Psycho-Cybernetics, Maxwell Maltz. And he talked about how there were so many people that he did plastic surgeon. But no matter how much he changed them from the outside, they kind of just still felt this feeling of being ugly, being insecure, not being happy with their life. And they thought that if you just changed the outside, that was the problem. But it's a misdiagnosis. And so I started to realize, maybe there's a different way that I can change instead of trying to change everything from the outside. And I think this is archetypal. I think this is something that everybody goes through. Everybody goes through this feeling that, if I change the outside enough, then I'll feel different on the inside. Even though there's so many stories of people saying that's not what makes you happy, we still think that it's what's going to make us happy. Getting the money, getting the body, getting the house, getting the girl, getting the car. We're all looking for the solution. of what will change how we feel about ourselves. You know, if you feel like you're a shy person or you're just a loner who has no social power, you're always looking for that holy grail, that thing that will make you feel like you're good enough. Finally. Everybody thinks that it's some reason on the outside that's making them feel inadequate or unhappy. It's because I'm fat, it's because I have acne, it's because of my looks, it's because of XYZ, I can't get women. It's because I'm not making enough money, it's because I'm stuck in the social circle with people that don't appreciate me. It's because my job. Maxwell Maltz's book shows, especially when it comes to changing the external appearance, that isn't what changes your feeling of yourself. He said, your feeling of yourself depends on your self-image. And then he outlines all these different methods of how to change your self-image. That person honking at me before kind of triggered me. I'm just letting it go. I'm letting the feelings come, and I'm letting them go. Back on topic. So, it can be so easy to get distracted and to not focus on the thing that actually changes the compass. You can even feel like it's a physical sickness that's causing you to feel like you're inadequate. I felt like that for a very long time. This feeling of inadequacy, of dissatisfaction, can come up for any reason though. In Buddhism, they call it dukkha. You know, Eckhart Tolle was talking about this. I just saw him in Miami. He was talking about this feeling of inadequacy that follows you around, unless if you're on the right path. Buddhism talks about the right path. Suffering is inescapable in life unless if you're on the right path. And so every religion kind of recognizes this. They say this is the way. This is the way to actually end the suffering. And this is not what the mind really wants to hear. The mind wants to hear, all right, well, I'm going to show you the way to the promised land. And it's through changing the outside. Once you achieve the money, the body, the health, wealth, the love, then you'll have the happiness. And in a lot of ways, fair enough. In a lot of ways, I think that it's good to seek mastery of the external situation. But here's the thing. It's not one or the other. Why not work at both on the same time? That just makes sense to me. You see, this isn't going to be a spiritual discourse to say, you know, devalue success on the outside. No. It's still good to be prosperous. It's still good to seek out a good career. It's still good to seek out prosperity and wealth and money. It's still good to get a good partner. It's still good to seek out health and to get away from your bad habits and your sicknesses. Of course. But at the same time, what all these wise men were saying is, at the same time, why don't we work on the source, the mind, right? It just makes sense. So Marcus Aurelius was a Roman emperor, and he had a book called Meditations, and he realized this from the very beginning. His whole philosophy and mindset was, you gotta get your expectations right. Everybody's expecting that life should be fair, life should give me, I want life to be set up to where it gives me what I want. And then they're disappointed if it doesn't. And so his whole philosophy is that if good comes, don't be overly joyful about it. If bad luck comes, Don't be overly disturbed by it. See the benefit in every situation that comes because you have no control over it. So he's talking about rewire your mind. Focus on your mind. And so it keeps on coming back to this, doesn't it? If you want to have better self-esteem, you have to work on your mind. But how do you do that? So there's conscious and unconscious methods. Dr. Maltz recommends subconscious methods. And that's why we're always talking about accessing your subconscious mind, doing deeper meditations. You know, all these religions, all these esoteric practices always get you to be able to look at the deeper parts of your mind that you aren't even aware of. Friedrich Nietzsche says the mind is an impenetrable fortress. So at your conscious level, you're not going to be able to see what's really going on in your beliefs, your limiting beliefs, your insecurities, everything that makes you feel like you're not enough. And so you have to have a way to actually be able to mold the way that you see the world, the way that you see yourself, your limiting beliefs, your limiting perceptions, your associations that you have. It kind of feels like it's just this monster that's in you that makes you feel certain ways, that limits your energy, that keeps you from taking action in the ways that you want. It kind of feels like it's this machine that controls you. And so there's methods that people have understood of how to actually access that and change the wiring of your brain. So it's not one or the other, right? It's always the middle path, said Aristotle. So you use the subconscious strategies, but you also use the conscious strategies, right? So Marcus Aurelius, he always talked about how you conceptualize things, how you interpret things. You have to stay peaceful, you have to stay calm, you have to stay stoic. No matter what situation you're in, you can always remember there's a benefit to this, there's always a pro, there's always a con. And he taught to accept it as your destiny. You know, you do your best to make the best outcome, but whatever comes, you have to take it because it's inevitable. If you strive against it, if you rail against it, if you say, this isn't fair, I hate this, if you create negative reactions to whatever state you're in, then that only hurts you. You see, that's the interesting thing. That's why in this program, I always emphasize, no matter where you're at, no matter how long it takes, embrace the process. Don't create impatience, worry, shame. Don't create this feeling of body shame, not liking where you're at, even if you have low energy. You know, I was sick for such a long time, for over 15 months, and for a very long time I railed against it. I had these feelings that it wasn't fair. I don't want to be like this. I would look in the mirror and I hate what I saw. I criticize. I just have these feelings of, you look like shit, you feel like shit, you're not doing shit, you have all these bad habits, your actions are shit. And I was just shitting on myself. And then I'd feel shitty for shitting on myself because I realized what I was doing, but I felt like I couldn't stop. It took a long time for me to actually realize and to practice seeing the benefit in where I was, sitting there with all those negative emotions and understanding how to rewire them after I release them. Sometimes it feels like you cannot stop the stream of the negative thoughts. There's so much charge there. You have to be able to sit there and release it and then rewire it. So I didn't have the tools that I needed to start rewiring how I felt. Got a little personal training session happening over here. So what do? if you're there and you feel like you have this low self-esteem, you have this hatred for your body, how do you actually escape it? How do you actually start working on it? How do you see the benefit in it? You're gonna say, well, how is there benefit in this? If I have low self-esteem, if I feel shy, if I feel like a loner, if I feel like I'm not succeeding, is this just some kind of voodoo, hippy-dippy, mumbo-jumbo, spiritual impracticality? Well, let me tell you exactly what I did, so you can start today doing something that'll help you start on the path of taming your gremlin. There's actually a great book out there called Taming Your Gremlin. And this is the concept that I was talking about, where you feel like you have this gremlin, this monster, in the background of your psyche that no matter where you go, there it is, and you can't shut it up, right? You can't stop it. So what do you do if you feel like this voice is there and you can't stop it? Well, what he teaches is what we've been talking about. First thing is, so much of the time you just try to escape that voice, you try to shut it up, you distract yourself from it. And so that's suppressing it. So what he recommends in his book, Taming Your Gremlin, is step number 1. You set some time aside and you sit with it and you don't resist it and you completely hear it out and you focus on it and you magnify it. You focus into the body feelings, you focus into the thoughts, you exaggerate it. You let it release, you stop resisting it. And Fred Dodson talks about this very much as well. Because a lot of the time, our shadow, the parts of us that we hate, that we disown, that we don't want others to see, that we have shame about, that we don't even want ourselves to be in touch with. It's too uncomfortable. It gets this negative energy associated with it. And so that negative energy, that accumulation, it festers, it becomes worse and worse and worse because it becomes more and more of a taboo. You don't want to look at it, even though it's there. And so you're stacking negative emotions on that imperfection that you have. All right, so let's take the example. You're fat, you hate how your body looks, or anything about how your body looks. Maybe you hate how your face looks. Maybe you're too skinny in your own mind. So that's a negative emotion, right? But it becomes a shadow when you don't want to feel it, you don't want to think about it, you don't want to admit it. You wouldn't want anybody else to know that you feel that way about yourself. You're ashamed about those feelings, you're ashamed. You couldn't tell it with truthfulness to somebody and just be like, yeah, I feel like I'm fat. That's how you know. If you feel this sense of shame, if you would admit it to somebody else, it's hiding in the shadow. You're hiding it in the shadow. You don't want it to be known. That's when it starts accumulating even extra energy. And so to release that, really simple. Step number 1, like we said, you sit with it, you feel it, you exaggerate it. You let all those feelings come to the light. And you're gonna feel a resistance. You don't want to feel these strong negative emotions. You want to feel like, no, it doesn't exist, sweep it under the rug. I'm just generating this. I don't want to generate this. I don't want to create these negative emotions. This is bad for me. Bad, bad, bad. Don't admit it. Just hide, distract, eat, watch, work. You're not facing what's really happening in your psyche. You're not facing what's really there. The truth is, you really do have these feelings. You really do have these thoughts. You really do have these emotions. And so if you can sit there and be truthful with yourself, this is the first step to actually de-energizing it. So you sit there for a bit. You might notice some physical symptoms. You might start sweating. Your palms might start sweating. Your pits might start sweating. You might feel uncomfortable. It's okay. Just learn to be with it. You can even exaggerate it a little bit. Then once you do that, switch over to the opposite. Start feeling how you want to feel. Start feeling the opposite. If you feel like you're fat and ugly, well, start feeling like you have comfort with your body. Start feeling body acceptance. Start feeling, you can imagine that you have a different body. You can imagine that you have the physique that you want. Start feeling the emotions of being proud of your body. Start feeling the emotions of being comfortable with your body. In any shape that it's in, start being comfortable and start appreciating it. Start feeling like, wow, my body is strong, my body is beautiful, my body, you know, I didn't earn this body. I have this body. Imagine what it would be like to have a body that you love. Imagine what it would be like to love the body that you're in now, and also to have a transformed body that you love. So you love it now, you appreciate it now, you shower it with gratitude now, and then you also feel what it would be like to have the ideal body, and you feel all those emotions. So that's step number 2. Step number 3 is you switch back and forth. Okay? So then you would switch back to feeling whatever might be there about your current state. If you imagine your body, if you imagine the fatness of your body, if you imagine the weakness of your body, if you imagine the imperfection of the aesthetics of your body, the imperfection of the energy, maybe you're sick, imagine it and feel anything that's still there. Feel where it is, if it's in your stomach, your heart. Feel any negative emotion, the most potent negative emotional charge that's still there. Feel it. Search it out. See if it's still there. You don't have to create it. I'm not telling you to create it. I'm telling you to see if you still have this negative association and to let yourself feel it. And so you go back and forth, and it discharges the negative energy. And so that's the technique that I started to use. And when I started to use that technique, I felt like I had this energetic release of trauma. I felt like I was finally able to accept certain things about myself that I didn't even know I was suppressing. I didn't even know that I had shame. Well, of course I did, but it wasn't in my aware mind. You know, if you start experimenting with talking about these things that you're hiding from, your negative habits, your negative addictions, your negative associations, your body shame, you start talking to people about it that you trust, you know, safe people like therapists, best friends, or even just in a video format, you'll start to feel different emotions if you start to reveal how you really feel and be truthful with what's going on in your psyche. You'll feel it, and so it will tell you if you have shame or guilt, if you have frustration or anger, and it will let you release that. You know, I would actually sometimes like shake. Sometimes I would like feel really emotional. Sometimes you'll cry, and you'll just release these negativities that you hold over yourself. And when I was done with sessions like this, I would feel so much lighter. I feel healthier. I'd come out and I feel like, wow, there's no need to actually hold on to that shame, that guilt, that criticism. The voice of the gremlin was so much dampened. It was so alleviated. That gremlin, I didn't care about it anymore. I didn't feel the guilt. I didn't feel like I had to hide it. I felt like it was so normal. It was destigmatized. It was de-dramatized. It was no longer a thing. And you'll feel that if you do this exercise. You'll feel that lightness, that new perspective. You won't feel like it's such a serious problem anymore. You might just feel like, okay, well, I have a little bit of fat, so what? You'll be able to realize so many other people do. And it's not that big of a deal. So you feel like it's such a big deal, but after you actually release the negative charge, you'll feel this acceptance, you'll feel this calmness, this peace, and it will last. And whenever you feel like it's slipping again, you can just do this exercise. It could take 1 minute, it could take 5 minutes, and it brings this inner peace, right? Eventually you'll get so good at it that you won't need to have a formal time alone in silence in a dimly lit room. You can just do it at your desk. You'll feel this sense of relief, this change in perspective, this change in terms of your association with it, right? So it's not actually the thing that's causing the pain, it's your interpretation and association to it. It's your relationship with it, it's how you're holding it. There's so many people who have the same problem, but it's not causing them pain because they're not holding it in the same way. They're not looking at it in the same way. Their perspective on it is different. And after you release the negativity, you can start actually seeing it as, well, what can I actually benefit from this? You'll actually be able to see that. At first, you're not able to see that. You're not able to feel it. But when you discharge the negative emotion, you change your association, your perspective on it, and the feeling is actually discharged. That's important. See, it's not just about mental gymnastics. It's about discharging the feeling, and then you'll actually be able to create a realistic new paradigm that just won't be bullshit positive thinking that gets rejected by your subconscious. You see, you have to add this layer of emotional release, of trauma release, and then you'll be able to feel that different reality, that different frame shift that you can put on it. And then maybe you'll realize, well, plenty of people have the dad bod. It's just in the zeitgeist. It's just in the collective consciousness. It's just because the food is bad. It's just because the health education is bad. And there's so many millions and millions and millions of other people. 73% of people are overweight that understand you. It's a cultural problem. It's not a personal problem. It's not a personal failing. I can relate to people more because of this. I can learn so much about how to alter my perception, how to change my brain, how to train my brain away from stress. It's a stimulus that's getting you to learn. So you start to see your problem as a project, and you start to see that the project is teaching you important things about your life that apply not only to this problem, but to ways that you can solve many different problems in life. And that's how you can be grateful for it. You see, it was always true. But when you lift the fog and you lift the clouds and you start to see the sunlight clearly, that's when you can actually rewire that part of your brain. And that's how you can change your energy. That's how you can change your self-esteem. That's how you can begin right now changing your vitality. A lot of people don't understand that a big part of your vitality is your self-image. It's your beliefs. It's how you see the world. And people feel stuck because they don't understand how to change it. This is how you change it. It's a powerful, incredibly powerful first step. Fred Dodson says that emotional shifting technique, I'm paraphrasing, but he says it's one of the most powerful strategies known to man in the universe, he actually said. It stood out when he said that. To actually start making change in your subconscious mind. To start making change in the world around you. The way that he sees it is you start changing who you are. You are one of the most powerful forces in the universe. That's why he says it's one of the most powerful strategies in the universe. Because you are a very potent creator in this universe. And if you can change your thoughts, especially your identity, which is a core thought, then you start changing not just yourself, not just your life, people's lives around you. And as you know, people are the creatures that can actually make change in this world. We morph the world, we morph the universe. We are the creators. We're like gods. We can bend reality in so many ways with our science, with our actions, with our hands, in so many ways with our thoughts. with our creativity. It all comes from the mind. Every building that you see, every invention, every sign came from the mind. That's why he says you change the mind, you change the subconscious mind, you start morphing reality, start morphing the universe, become more of a creator, right? And so until I realized these things, I honestly did just continuously have these continuous feelings of low energy, low self-esteem. I didn't know how to change it. You try to change it from the outside, but no matter where you go in life, no matter what you do, you're still there with you. So change the external, learn the skills, but learn the skills of how to change you. A lot of people neglect that. Learn about yourself. Socrates said, know thyself. America and the West says, just find success externally. That's only half the puzzle. You have the yin and the yang. We don't glorify one over the other. You gotta do both. You fix the yin, you fix the yang. And a lot of people overlook this when it comes to their feeling of vitality. People want this feeling of vitality and they neglect the self. They neglect the mind. They neglect the subconscious. You know, and sometimes it's a matter of physical vitality too. I want to make a whole nother video on this. Sometimes it's a matter, your vitality is a matter of physical competence. Sometimes you feel depressed and low self-esteem because you have a physical deficiency. You have something wrong with your body. Your energy is getting disrupted and dumped because you have a bad habit and you don't even realize, you don't make the connection. So that's what we're going to talk about in this next video. I'm going to end this video here and we're going to pick up from there because they're two somewhat different topics and there's some nuances in there. So I want to leave you here with that exercise. I want to encourage you to do that exercise right now. Don't delay. Buy now. I want you to see the power of it. I want you to be able to explore your psyche. I want you to be able to explore your emotions. I want you to be able to feel the relief of the gremlin, the relief of all the negativity that can be stored in your unconscious storehouse. And then you'll feel so free, you'll feel so good. You know, speaking about these things really makes a big difference in your energy. You'll feel fantastic. So take the 5 minutes. You know, you don't have to do a 10-minute session. Sometimes I just do like a 5-minute session. Experiment. You remember the video that I posted? To really have vitality and success and power in life, the number one approach to pick up is that of the mad scientist, the experimenter, doing many different experiments on you because you are the biggest factor in your life. You are the biggest variable in your life. Your body, your mind, your subconscious, your habits. Experiment, experiment, experiment. It's fun. It's like you are the ultimate experiment. You're the most interesting creature in your life, I hope. It's like if you found an alien, wouldn't you experiment on it? You'd see what food it likes, you see what environments it likes, you'd be fascinated by this alien. Well, treat yourself like that alien. Why are you an alien? Because you don't really know that much about yourself. Remember, the mind is an impenetrable fortress. You don't know that much about yourself. And there's so many variables that go into your quality of life. You change one variable and you can see your life completely transformed. You'll turn into a different creature. That's how the human being is. We're malleable. We can transform. We can be like shapeshifters. We can evolve. Out of every single creature, which creature has the most variability, the most variety? You look at lions, they're all kind of the same. You look at even monkeys, they're all kind of the same. You look at humans, they're all different. It's like they're different creatures. And we're able to actually morph. We're able to actually change so much about our body and mind. So the beauty of the experiment is one of the most exciting things. I wake up every single morning and it's like Warren Buffett said, I tap dance out of bed. I'm so excited about doing these different experiments, mental experiments, physical experiments, sleep experiments, food experiments, temperature experiments, sunlight experiments, social experiments. You experiment with everything, meditation experiments, knowledge experiments. You can see how different people see the world. And one little mind shift can change not just your trajectory, but how you feel right now. So I'll leave you with that. And what I'll do too is I'll leave a document in the description with a list of the 6 different pillars of health. And what you can do is you can print out this document and you can go through over the next few months, maybe even a year, if you're inexperienced, if you're just like a yellow belt, if you're not a black belt yet, then you can start going through each of these principles, each of the 6 pillars, and start practicing different concepts. I broke it down. You're going to be surprised at how many different practices you can do to optimize your vitality, your self-esteem, your emotions, so that you can have a better life. I call it the 6 pillars with the practices for a vital and rich life. Everybody wants vitality, everybody wants a rich life. But are you practicing? So these are the practices. So go ahead and click that description below. It'll just ask for your email. And also, I have a 6-week masterclass that teaches all of these principles, the 6 pillars. It teaches it. It gives you a tribe, step-by-step, video format. It's free right now. You weren't expecting me to say that. It's free right now. Click the playlist below. It's not always going to be free. I'm getting feedback on it right now. I have a beta group. You can click it. You can get in the actual, you can not only watch the free videos, but you can actually get in a free beta class where I'll actually coach you for free. But I only have so many seats for that. I can't do that for everybody. So click that below. And you know what? In the PDF, it'll actually have a link if you want to apply for a seat in the free coaching masterclass, okay? Again, I can't accept everybody. I can only accept people that will do the program, that are committed to their health, that will give feedback. Because, like I said, I want to see how well these techniques work for you guys. I'm always experimenting. So I'm doing this because this is the most fun experiment that we can possibly ever run with ourselves, on each other. It's a glorious thing to see what we can become. And God knows the society needs it. America and the world is going through physical health crisis, mental health crisis. People are losing their minds. People are losing their health. People are losing their relationships. People are isolating. People are losing their community. We need to stand against it. It's the dark side of society. The dark side, the Darth Vaders, the greedy business CEOs, pharmaceutical health industry, supplement industry, education industry. They're not teaching us what we need. And so this is a movement against that. And the more people who are voting this way with their food choices and living a different way, it's a grassroots movement, okay? You influence so many people. You don't even have to try to spread it. It spreads. People catch on. This will create a new society and take the power from the dark side. All right, so get the PDF, get in the masterclass, check out my channel, like and subscribe so that you can keep on getting this transformational information. I'll see you in the next video.